Hey guys, it's Shiz. I think I'm losing my voice. Uh, I recorded a part last weekend, but it sounds pretty bad because I was pretty sick, and I'm still kind of coming off of it. So let's just do this real quick. I think we left off here. The edit game data. So let me just show you real quick what this is. So here we're going to have a whole bunch of settings that we're going to want to be changing throughout our game. Here you have your title, your subtitle, and then the description, and this is what will come out in the game when you first start it up. And here you can choose how many slots you want, and then here's the volume. You can change that. This is default. And let me just click through them. Here's where you get to pick your starting party. So if you click it, you can kind of see, and I did this one last time, but you can kind of see your characters here, and then you can pick one and then choose it, and then that'll be your starting. System graphics, here's all your message windows. You click it, these are all photos. You can import your own, and you can kind of see what it is here. I think this is new here. They added these colors, so you can change the colors to different things here. You can import your own little icons, and then here's where you would choose what you want these commands to be. System sounds, same thing. These are default. You can add the different ones. Works the same way. You can click one and play it, and then pick one after whatever you can make your own. Bring them in. Camera. Here you can change the settings how you want. Right now, this is what it's going to look like, your camera. So when you start playing, you'll be this far. If you scroll with your mouse wheel, you can go in and out. You right click and hold it, you can drag it around, and then your left click, you can do this. So whatever you set it to, that's what your camera is going to be. Here you have grid or free, and with grid you kind of move in like like this type of direction where you're just like they're like squares, and then free movement, you can move diagonal or however you want. And then these are the different fighting styles. So there's a dungeon, and then first person, and then here's the camera for the first person, and you can change it here. If you don't want it that high, you want it lower for smaller character, however you want to do it. Battle, here you can select cameras, how you want them to move. So see, when you're attacking it, the camera tilts. When you use a skill, it moves into here. Item, it's kind of the same thing, but you can move the camera around. Here you can change the start and the ending, and then the camera speed. So, and then you can just preview them. 2D, yeah, I can't change it, but 2D is, so right now, like I said, you can have either 3D or 2D style. 2D is like when they're like just images, and you can do like side by side. And then VR. I haven't tried this, but I want to try it. Maybe I have a HTC Vive, so maybe I'll try it later. Next is title. Here's your menu screen when you start up the game, and you can change if you want text displayed there or graphic. So you hit display text, and then you get that, and you can change the color where you want it aligned, and then so image, you just go and change graphic, and then pick a different graphic, and then that'll come out here. I'll show you. Same. Okay, here you can change that. So begin, and just change that there. Then here you can change how you want the menu, and then the position, depending on where you want it. You can move it all around, and then font color, and then font border if you want a border around the letters. If you don't, then it takes it off. See, I guess it depends on how your background looks. This right here is this flashing thing, so you can change that to something else. You can make your own little flashing thing or whatever, and then you can make it to throb. You can make it zoom. Let's see how it zooms in. Here's where you change the background image, and your title screen music, and you can put a sound if you want. And then this will show up when you actually run it on like a computer, like as a final or demo, or if you run it on your phone, this will pop up, so you can put your own logo here. Here's all the terminology. You can change the currency. You can put the $sign or whatever you want here. And it's just all these menus and everything. So you know when something happens, like one of these, this comes up, so you can change that. Characters. Here's where you can add characters. So you can hit add, and it makes it blank. Just change the name here. A new guy. You go to change graphic, and it'll load all your characters. And then if you had made a character, it'll be in here. So then you just find your character. Let's just pick that guy. And then here you can put, so when you go into his info, you get to see his description, so you can write something there about them. And then here is where you can change all the values. You can play with these to see, you know, if you want to make somebody strong or somebody weak or in a special type. Or, it's just all this right here. Equipment, you can have them start with a special item. Any kind of, you know, items. You can check the ones once you make a whole bunch of items. Like if you make your custom ones, you can add them here. Or I think they all show up, yeah, and then you just check the ones that work for that character. Same thing with weapons, same thing with armor. So maybe you know want him, or maybe you want him to be a special class, like a mage or something, and he can't use swords, and then you just uncheck all the swords, you know, stuff like that. Skills, here you can add a skill. Remember, you can select from all these different skills. And then here you can kind of see, well, I'll show you that's in the other tab, so I'll just and then here you can put what level he learns it at. Let's say this is a strong move, so he would learn it level 90. Let's see, I think there's a, yeah, it doesn't go higher than 99. So yeah, here are your basic commands. You can do the same thing here. You can choose the icon and change it, and then choose what they do. I guess that's already set. So next would be your items. Same thing here. You can add a new item. You can name it and change the icon. And then same thing, description. You can change this, how much it costs, if you want to sell it, and all that. And then you can mess with this stuff if you want it to have any special effects. You go, and here you can change the animation. So, you know, if you want to, whatever you want to choose, or if you want to make your own. Over here on this tab you have the weapons. Same thing, you can add a weapon and it's the same, everything's the same here. Armor, same thing, add your own armor, add your own stats, and then same thing. Okay, skills, same thing, you add your own skill, kind of see a pattern, and then yeah, just change your own stats. Same thing with monsters, it's like the characters, you just create one, choose the graphic, and then just, you know, set up their stats. You can be resistant to elements, stuff like that. Yeah. This I really don't mess with, but maybe we should see what it does. Okay, I'll look into that and then we'll try that. Same thing with battle events. It looks like it's like a world thing. Alright, well that's it for that. Let me go ahead and show you. So over here, let's just make a new map. Let's leave it at that. Let's use a template. Let's do it in the snow. Okay, it should open it up at the very bottom. Here we go, let's zoom out. Okay, so this is what we have. I don't like how it's like, let's move this down. Okay, so make this a starting point. Let me go ahead and show you how to add your own, and we'll do this from Blender, our own object. So it's pretty easy. Okay, so I did a search for what the poly count is on Smile Game Builder, and looks like the dev here responded, and they recommend 1,000 to 2,000 per people or buildings. At the main goal is about 12,000 poly. Oh, okay, well maybe you can go as high as 12,000. Well, we'll see, because I know sometimes they won't come in if it's too high. But let's do one and then see what it looks like. I'm gonna keep this open. Okay, let's close this out. So let's go ahead and make something. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is open up Blender. This is a bird I was working on. Let's do new. Okay. Alright, let's what should we make first? Let's do something simple. How about a table? Let's do a table. Hit S for scale. I'm gonna scale it about that big, and then scale on the Z, and then you want to go into edit mode by pushing tab and then Control R, hover over it to do a loop cut, then use your middle mouse button and move it up to do 2 loop cuts. Left click, right click to accept. Now we have those two. I want to go ahead and scale them out, so I'm going to do scale, and I'm going to do it on the Y since they're facing this way, and I want to do it about there, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. And the way I like to move around is hitting Shift F, and then the WASD keys move you around. Let's keep going, do another loop cut, same thing. We're going to scale it across the X there. Switch over to that so we can grab the faces. Hold down Shift, grab all 4, let's extrude down, push E, and we have a table. And we want the origin point here to stay there. So what you can do is either go into edit mode and move this up, or it's probably easier to just move it from here. So we're gonna grab it, push G and Z on the, and then Z for that axis, and you can actually hit 1 on the number key to go into ortho view. And let's move it up, G and Z again, about there. Now let's click off of it, middle mouse button. Let's see, we want to do object, set origin to 3D cursor, and now perfect. Next thing is go back into edit mode tab. You want to go to faces, and you want to triangulate. So you want to do triangulate faces here, or you could have done Control T. Now you kind of see. Next thing we want to do is we want an actual texture. Let's go ahead and add one. And the way we do it is we want to go into texture paint. And you'll kind of see how it's unwrapped right now. I mean, that works. If you want to get it across, you know, it all depends how you want it to look. But if it doesn't look anything like this and it's all kind of messed up all in one, what you want to do is go into edit, hit U, and then unwrap. Sometimes when you have a whole bunch of stuff and you don't want it to crowd it off to the edge, because then when you paint it, you'll see that line. You want to unwrap and do smart UV project, and then just do an island around. I normally do like 6 or 9, just depends. It's just a table, so it doesn't really matter. So let's go back into object mode, go into texture paint, and you kind of see now what it looks like. So it's split it up instead of it just being like that cross thing. So next we want to add a texture, and if you remember from this, we want to keep it at some kind of this type of size. So let's just do something small since it doesn't matter. We'll do 64 by 64. You could do 32 by 32. I mean, let's see. So let me just go. So we went into texture paint. Over here it says no texture. You click that. Click a base color. And here's where you change your size. So we were doing 64, and then here you just choose a color. I was just gonna do white. It's just blank. And here you can name it. So table. Hit OK. Alright, so let's click it. Let's switch over to viewport shading. We can actually see the color. Now you're ready to paint. So you can either paint on the object or you can paint over here. You got to make sure you choose it here. So now we can actually see it. So when we paint on here or here, and you'll see it. So first you want to Shift F, and I like to make mine 100% strength, or 1. Sometimes it's like 0.5 when you first start out, so I just do that. And then F, you can control your brush size. Let's go ahead and choose a color. Let's do a brown one. And you could always layer a texture over it, like if you have your own textures. But let's just say we wanted to paint it, and just start painting over it. And you see how it's changing over there? And let's just do it all brown. Make sure I get all the corners. Everything? Yep. Okay, and then what I like to do, I mean, you don't have to, you can do whatever you want. You can paint over it however you want to. But I'm gonna make this darker, and then I'm going to Shift F and then make it probably like that, and then just kind of it's gonna be a little airbrush shading. Like you don't have to do this, but I'm just doing it. Okay, so what you want to make sure you do is you want to save it over here. Make sure you save it in the same folder. First, let's save our file. Maybe we should have saved it earlier, but it's still good. So I just created a folder and call it tutorial. Let's go ahead and save it here. I'm gonna name it table. Let's see, table tutorial. It doesn't matter, but that'll help me remember. We're gonna save it. And now we want to go to the image and hit save. Save it in that same folder. I'm just going to call it for the sake of the video, I'm going to call it the same thing, but you don't have to. It's just something that will help you remember. So go back to layout, and if we go to this, we should be able to see it. Alright, so next we want to make sure you scaled it the right size. So if you remember, it's going to be like within these blocks. Add it back in. Okay. There we go. Now it's bigger. Okay. Oops. Move that. Alright. So now, once it's added, you can close this out, and it should automatically go into your Objects tab. And so you see it'll be named whatever you had it. So I had it in a folder called tutorial, so it made a tab and called it tutorial. Now try to make everything into the same folder, so you're gonna have a whole bunch of FBXs, sorry, and a bunch of textures in one folder. Make sure you call it like objects or something, or put your name or something. Because if you start doing a whole bunch of different folders, then you're going to get tons of tabs, and this is going to just get all blocked up, and then you're going to have to be trying to move this up, and I mean it gets so cluttered if you have so many of these tabs. So let's go to the one we just added, tutorial. There's our table, and so now we can just click, and there it is. You can rotate it, and you can just click and add however many you want. And now when we play the game, let's play test it. And we have these tables, and you see you can't walk past them because of the collisions. Yeah, these actually could be like little desks. Yeah, so that's how you bring something in. So, hope that was helpful. and I'll see you guys on the next video.